Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jaylee. This is Jaylee's Corner. I have been watching and paying attention to this case, which I had no idea about until it came up in my TikTok. Okay, so we have a case that I am more surprised more people did not hear about until now. But now that the trial has happened and she's been found guilty, it is all over the news. So Hannah Payne was on trial for a situation that happened back in May of 2019 between her and victim Kenneth Herring. Now, first of all, okay, if you have not done so already, make sure that you have already subscribed to my channel. Okay, we come home, JayBird. Like the video, share the video, comments in the comment section. You can also follow me on social media at JayLeesCorner. Okay, so as I said, we have Hannah. Okay, where's Hannah? Boom, that is Hannah. This incident happened back in May of 2019. Yes, before the pandemic. Okay. And we have Hannah who felt like, now I'm not going to be on camera because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, but y'all can hear me. Hannah, at the time, was 21 years old back in May of 2019. She was basically a bystander witness of a traffic incident. Okay. At the time, Kenneth was 62, ran a red light, and ended up colliding with a truck. Okay. Minor incidents. Even though his vehicle had some damage to it, the tractor trailer she hit did not. I'm sorry, he hit did not. But everybody pulled over, okay? Now, this is crazy because there were so many witnesses to the initial accident where Kenneth's car hit another truck. He did not hit Hannah. No, Hannah was just a witness to the incident. She pulled over, another gentleman pulled over who happened to be a correctional officer. Kenneth pulled over as well. Okay. However, they called 911. Kenneth's truck was messed up. Kenneth was, again, he's a 62-year-old black man. Hannah is a 21-year-old white woman. Hannah at the time was also carrying a weapon because she had a CCW. So they all pull over. They call the 911. But again, there were no big issues, okay? However, Kenneth, who they say was diabetic, they feel like he may have been having some kind of diabetic emergency. After sitting and waiting about 20 minutes for 911 police to show up, which they did not, Kenneth then was leaving because they think he was leaving to go to a hospital because he was having some type of diabetic episode. So he went off. Now, there were many 911 calls. There were calls from Hannah. There were calls from the other gentleman who was there. And I'm not going to play too much of it because I don't want to get much stuff flagged. I can just tell you what was said. And plus, it's all over TikTok. We hear a 911 call from a gentleman who's a black male who is a corrections officer. He's on the phone with 911. We hear him tell 911, yeah, we've been waiting about 20, 30 minutes. The police now have not showed up. And I think the gentleman who caused the accident is putting off and leaving. So that's when they call this a hit and run. I feel like if I hit something and I pull over and I wait 20, 30 minutes, if nobody show up, I'm not running. I'm just leaving. Okay. However, he was leaving after waiting 20 to 30 minutes. You hear the gentleman with 911 saying, oh, he's leaving. And you hear him yelling out, yeah, get his tag number. He's yelling to Hannah, get a picture of his license plate, because once they have that, the police can track him down. We have that part. Now, in a second 911 call, because Hannah has also called 911 because, again, the police ambulance have not showed up. The guy is leaving. Now, the 911 dispatcher is saying you do not need to follow him. We do not suggest. She repeated like 3 or 4 times. Do not follow. We do not need you. We do not want you to follow this man. You don't have to do that. We need you to be safe. We want you, everybody should just be back at the scene. It's fine, fine, fine. Hannah decides to follow anyway. She's saying, oh, I'm just going to get his tag number and that's it. She gives them the tag number, the license plate number. However, she keeps following him. Now, I also want to reiterate this. Nobody that was involved in this whole accident, basically not 2 incidents, knew each other. Okay. The victim, 62-year-old Kenneth, did not know the 21-year-old killer. Okay. Hannah, the car he hit, they didn't know who that person was. The other guy who called out, no one knew each other. So he driving to wherever he's going, where he's driving. Okay. Hannah then catches up to him, cuts him off, blocks his car. She pulls in front of his car. And you hear the 9, because she's still on the phone with 911. So everything we know about this whole situation, this is what I would call a dynamic situation, because there was audio and video evidence to like every piece of it since the incident happened. From the witnesses at the initial incident to the witnesses who witnessed Hannah kill Kenneth. So she catches up with Kenneth, cuts him off, gets out of her car, yelling, fussing, cussing. Now, again, Hannah's again, this happened back in May of 2019. It's currently, December of 2023. So it's been like 4 years. Well, over 4 years. It's over 4 years at this point in time. Okay, this is Hannah's family. This is her family. Also, her boyfriend is the lighter skinned gentleman with the big old beard. Okay, he's Dominican. Okay, so Caucasian Hannah has a Dominican boyfriend. They like, oh, she doesn't see race. She loves people. She's oh so nice and blah blah bloop. Okay. However, we have witnesses. You hear me? And that's why I said this whole situation was a dynamic situation because of all the evidence and the witnesses that seen exactly what she did. Because so many times situations happen and oh no, she's innocent. It was self-defense, unless they're witnesses. Okay? Ashley Jackson and Tawana McCraney, I may be mispronouncing that, they both witnessed what happened. And then Cameron Williams, he recorded the moment that Hannah shot Kenneth. Because he was driving, you know how it is. There's an accident happening, you're being nosy, you're trying to see what's going on. And a lot of people, I know we do this here in Detroit, Michigan. If you're riding past what looks like some kind of altercation, some kind of incident, sometimes you do pull your phone out and just start recording. And Cameron, who was driving past this, as he's driving past, literally had his phone up recording it and caught the exact moment that Hannah's gun went off and shot Kenneth. Now, I want to play quick parts of the witnesses. I'm only going to do, and it's so quick. It's so quick. Let me see, where are the witnesses? I'm only showing a few, like a minute or two of Ashley's and like a minute or two of Tiana's, because I want to be sure that y'all understand. While her family, oh, she's such a nice person, she's so mild-mannered, she doesn't see race, she doesn't get upset, and she's a great person. And I get it. Family is supposed to tell the police, you are Mother Teresa. Okay? You are innocent. I understand that. However, let's hear from, again, Ashley and Tiana, because I was like, tell it.
I saw her at the driver's side door of the vehicle, yelling obscenities for the man to get out the car. It looks like she was trying to fight him through the window.
Now, again, the trial and the testimonies were like an hour apiece. These are quick little snippets of what they said, of what they're telling both prosecution and defense and the judge and the jury what happened. Okay, what happened when you were outside and you seen this incident happening because there was all this traffic? What did you see? And they all were like, well, we seen her pull up crazily. Okay, was around here driving all reckless in traffic and saying, chasing the man down. And then once she got him, she was out here being crazy, deranged, and irate.
And what was her demeanor at this time?
Very aggressive. Very aggressive.
Now, the 911 call that was recorded on her own phone, Hannah, okay, Hannah, who stayed on the phone with 911 the whole time, because who would think it would be recorded and that it would get played in court? So even on her 911 call, you can hear in the distance her being angry, aggravated, and aggressive on the phone as she pulled up. But again, let me reiterate, the initial situation was he ran a red light, hit another truck. The other truck wasn't damaged. Nobody was physically hurt from the incident at all. Okay. He never had any interaction with Hannah. He did not hit Hannah's truck. He did not talk to Hannah. Hannah did not talk to him. And after waiting, he pulled off because the police never showed up. And they're saying they felt like he was having a diabetic medical emergency, and that's why he left. And I believe the EMTs and the hospitals or whatever was saying they did think that's what was going on with him physically after the incident. So the witness is saying how she put up mad, aggravated, aggressive. I just want to be clear. She had no interaction with him for her to even be upset and aggravated and aggressive for. And again, dispatch told her, ma'am, don't follow him. But she did anyway.
And what made you kind of stop at that time?
Because she was yelling, get out of the car, MFer, like banging at him like this, like get out of the car. So it was the big scene.
Now, do you recall if the victim's window was up or down at that time?
I want to say his window was down. I can't recall if it was all the way down, but it was down. And she was like trying to fight him through the window.
And when you say she was trying to fight him through the window, what did you actually see?
I just saw her hands moving, get out of the car, motherfucker, doing all this. I never saw anyone's hands come out of the window, per se, but I did see her at the window.
And again, she drove, chased him down. He did not even know he was being followed. And then she cut him off so that he could not drive any further. Jumped out of her car. Okay. With her gun on her hip. And he was in his car. So she trying to fight this man in his car.
And could you see anything that the victim was doing inside of the vehicle at that time?
I couldn't see anything he was doing inside the vehicle.
And could you recall if he was saying anything back to the defendant?
Not at this time. I did, but I don't remember.
So this is the second witness. And again, it was many different witnesses, but they're all speaking to what they saw. Because again, a busy intersection. It was in Atlanta. Okay, a busy part of Atlanta. It was traffic, so a lot of people was just around seeing what happened.
I don't remember anymore what he said.
Now, at any point in time when you observed the altercation, Did you see Mr. Herring's hands at any time come out of the truck?
No.
Could you see him attack the defendant in any way?
No. I mean, I did see a struggle after she jumped in his car, jumped through his window.
Because if you roll up on me, stranger, and jump in my window, I might fight you. Because, ma'am, who are you? At one point, a few of the witnesses were throughout their testimony was saying you could see him trying to like shoo her away because a strange white woman jumped in your car and is yelling at you to get out your car and trying to fight you.
So the defendant jumps over the median and cuts Mr. Herring's vehicle off.
Yes.
And you're saying she immediately jumped out of the truck and went towards his driver's side window, cursing, telling him to get out of the car. And at some point, there is a struggle.
Oh, yes.
And at what point in time did she jump inside of the vehicle?
After he hits her Jeep.
Now, what is the defendant doing at the driver's side window before Mr. Herring kind of hits her Jeep?
Holding him at gunpoint and cussing at him.
So again, he did not even bump into her Jeep after she ran up on him, pulled a gun out, fussing and fighting with him, and then they said within the tussle, his car kind of pulled forward and hit her Jeep.
Now, when did you observe the defendant take out the gun and point it at Mr. Herring?
Very shortly after she got out of her truck.
Was it before or after he hit her vehicle?
Before.
So, again, even though her family wants us to believe she's this nice, calm, demure, would never hurt a fly, this isn't it. She did not do it. And I want to because Hannah testified in her own defense, unlike Tory Lanez, and she kept saying, it wasn't me, he was fighting with me, and her defense was, he pulled the trigger of my gun while we were tussling over my gun. I didn't pull the trigger. Ma'am, you pulled up on that man, you pulled your gun out, and you thought he was not going to try to wrestle it out your hands. That's on you. Why would you? What's the point of girl, mind your own business. Thank God for the witnesses who, again, no one knew each other. It wasn't as if any of these three people plus the other folk they had up on this understand, any of them knew each other, could corroborate each other's statements. These are strangers who all just happened to be at the same intersection in their own way, in their own car, doing their own thing on the day where a person decided to play cops and want to do a citizen's arrest of somebody who left the scene of a traffic accident where nobody was hurt and nobody's car was messed up except his own car. His car was messed up and he left. Ma'am, mind your business, because now, guess what? She was sentenced, okay? Let's listen. Well, listen, because first of all, she was charged with felony murder, malice murder, false imprisonment, aggravated assault, and then 3 weapons charges for the shooting and death of Mr. Kenneth Herring, again, back in May of 2019. Now, she's currently 25. When it happened, she was 21, and he was 62. Okay, but let's listen to the judge. Let's see where the judge sentence this, murderer.
This court has sat through the trial. has heard arguments of defense and the state, has listened to the witnesses today, and after considering all of those things, the court will impose sentence as follows. Please stand, Ms. Payne.
I also want to mention that her lawyer, who seems to be a horrible lawyer, not horrible, he just wasn't that good to me. Her lawyer asked the judge and the jury and the people of the court to please factor in, the defendant's age. It happened when she was gun happy in 21. She's now a victim of white tears at 25. And he please consider her age. She shot and killed a 62-year-old black man because he left the accident. Send us, her judge.
With respect to count 1, malice murder, the court will impose a sentence of life with a possibility of parole.
So, life, but with the possibility of parole. Again, she's 25, so that's pretty young. And she gonna get some parole soon, but let's see.
With respect to count 2, felony murder, that will merge into count 1 and is dismissed as a matter of law. With respect to count 3, aggravated assault, that merges into counts 1 and 2. With respect to count 4, felony murder, that merges into count 1 and it is dismissed as a matter of law. With respect to count 5, the false imprisonment verdict, the court imposes a sentence of 8 years consecutive.
So the imprisonment is because she was basically holding him at gunpoint in his own car. And so that one was 8 years to be served consecutively.
With respect to count 6, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, the court imposes a sentence of 5 years that will run consecutive to the underlying sentence. Count 7 and 8 will merge into count 6.
Count 7 and count 8 merge into 6 because those are all gun charges. So it's still the life in prison with the possibility of parole, the 8 years for the false imprisonment, and then the 5 years for the weapons charge.
So the court's total sentence is life with the possibility of parole plus 8 years consecutive on the false imprisonment and 5 years consecutive on the possession of firearm during the commission of a felony.
Now, consecutive means one after the other. Where if they had did concurrent, it would have been you can serve the 8 years and the 5 years at the same time. When you do consecutive, you have to do 8 plus 5, which is 13. So basically, life with parole. And then after that, so let's say, she gets paroled after doing 5 years. She would still have to do 8 more years and then 5 more years. So whatever time she serves and then gets put up for parole, even after she's paroled for the life charge, she has to serve 8 years and then another 5 years.
And that is the court sentence. So I'll remand you again, Ms. Payne, into the custody of the Sheriff's Department.
So that's a long time. A lot of times people do things and they get sentenced, they're going to get 4 or 5 years. I believe the prosecution was asking for life without parole. They gave her life with parole. And again, she's only 25, but the thing about it is, when would she be up for parole? Let's hear from the ADA, the district attorneys, who kind of went into detail about the sentencing and even the fact that both the victim's family of Kenneth Herring and also the killer's family, Hannah, were getting like threats from people, which is crazy.
I plea to the public. We have seen the statements that are on social media. I ask that you do not threaten either family. It's a tragedy all the way around. Justice has been served. The jury found Ms. Payne guilty, so please do not threaten the Herring family or the Payne family.
Again, they found her guilty on all charges. Even though when the judge gave the sentencing, it seems like, oh, well, some charges went away. Not really. They combined them because if 4 of the charges all are guilty and she's getting life on one charge that matches the other ones, she's still guilty. So again, they're like, she got basically the maximum sentence, life. Justice was served. She wasn't found innocent. She was found guilty on all charges. She got sentenced. You know what I'm saying? So there's no point in even being upset with her family because it went through court and it happened. And it really ain't no reason to be upset with the victim's family.
Both families are still grieving. Let them grieve in peace without you threatening them.
Now, ma'am, I'm going to say this now. I understand her family is grieving because she's going to prison. And I know you wasn't trying to, combine the two situations. But her family can still see her, talk to her, visit her, send her care packages, send her love letters or whatever. Hey, she can have a whole girlfriend or boyfriend in prison. So the mourning of these two families are completely different. They may be mourning a situation, but her family is very much so not mourning her. I just want to make that clear. There's no mourning of her because she's alive. There's no grieving her. Now, I don't know how much her family is grieving him being dead. They didn't know that man. But I do understand that her family is suffering her not being there physically in person, but she's just in the prison a little way away. His family can't talk to him ever. He dead.
Beg of you, to those that have been online and sending those threats, please stop. Please stop. This is something that was handled correctly through the Justice Department, through the justice system. The jury found Ms. Payne guilty. Ms. Payne is going away for life with the possibility of parole. For those of you who do not understand what life with the possibility of parole means, it means in 30 years, that will be the first time that she will be able to come up for parole. But she's got an additional 13 years. She's a 25-year-old woman. I'm not good with math, but 30 plus 13 would put her somewhere around 78 years old before she could possibly get out of jail.
It's 68, but you're right. Again, so as I said, the life sentence, she's not even eligible until she served 30 years. So she's not even eligible for parole until she's 55 years old. And if she gets granted parole at 55 years old, she then has to do 13 additional years. So then she would end up being 68. But if they say at year 30, no, we're going to let you stay in here some more time. We're going to give you 5 more years, okay? Then she would do more time. But again, she has to do a minimum of 30 years plus 13. So she has to do a minimum of 43 years in prison. You killed a 62-year-old man. So you being in prison, until you're in your 50s, that's a little bit, nothing will bring him back, but she gonna sit down somewhere.
So justice has been done here for Kenneth Herring. We would love for Mr. Herring to be home with his family right now for Christmas, but unfortunately, we don't have the power to go back in time and stop what happened on that day. So all we can do is go forward right now. Yeah.
Why do you think we're seeing these threats in this case?
I think people are under the misconception that it was race. We never, ever brought race into this matter. As I told y'all when she was convicted the other night, that was too simple.
Now, let me say this, okay? Because again, even though we can, because, she has the Dominican boyfriend who sits in the back. She said, oh, I got black friends or whatever. So it wasn't because he was black. However, from the outside looking in, it do feel like the question will always be, why did she get so upset over something that literally had nothing to do with her? Why did she fit in the DA, the DA who was like the audacity that she felt like she had the right to be the authority figure and force him, Kenneth, to do anything. She put herself in this predicament. She got herself arrested. She got herself in a life in prison situation. But from the outside looking in, people will feel like, because she's a 21 at the time, she was a 21-year-old white girl who chased down a 62-year-old black man and then went up to his truck with her gun and tried, get out the car, get out the effing car. Like, who are you? And then put her gun out, and now he's gone. So even though, they may not have presented it as, oh, it was a race case, it still seems like look, it could be. It could be. I'm just saying. It could be something else too. But she talked in circles so much on the stand, you really don't know why she did it.
To say that it was black and white. We sat in our office for 4 years. We were having these discussions and trying to figure out why. Only Hannah Payne knows why she did it. But the fact that the certain things that we knew she had an African American boyfriend, so that automatically throws out, hate out there, race.
Now, I don't claim to be the best person to know this from that. But I do believe Dominicans consider themselves African American. That's when I, say that. Because when they asked him, how does he identify, he said Dominican. Okay? I'm just saying.
She only knows, why she did it. We've talked about class division. Bond and I were sitting there talking about maybe it's because of she was here and she thought he was there because of the truck and the condition of the truck and stuff. We will never know.
At all. So, that's her boyfriend right there. I just want to show y'all the boyfriend a little bit. Let's play a little bit of him talking. Just a little bit.
She's not like that.
What's your nationality?
Dominican.
You're Dominican.
Yes, sir.
So you don't see her seeing race?
At all.
So what do you think when you hear people make this into a race issue?
Well, people that they said that because they race. That's what I think. Because if you see right here, I'm not seeing color though.
So, yeah. But again, life. At least 30 years. Then whenever she does get paroled, she has to do an additional 13 years. So even though she kept saying, I thought I thought I was supposed to do this. I didn't plan on shooting him. When the DA said, didn't they teach you when you was in training school for guns, you do not pull your weapon out unless you intend to use it? And her reply was, well, no, they told me or taught me you never put your finger on the trigger unless you plan to do it. And I was like, girl, bye. Potatoes. You hear me? Potatoes. You do not pull out a gun unless you intend to use it. Period. Because if you pull it out, it's a chance somebody can get shot. Because let's say, even though you did not pull, if you say you did not pull the trigger, because you pulled the gun out, the trigger got pulled. and someone was killed. And it was all caught on camera, on cell phone, by visuals of these folks. Okay. Again, the two witnesses who witnessed it, the gentleman who was riding past, and this happened to get it on video camera. Okay. The moment the gun went off, you know, even the fact that it was police right down the street who ran up, and you could see the camera, the body cam footage of them saying, well, who shot him? And I did. The whole time she felt like she never acknowledged anything wrong. Not following him, not getting out her car, not blocking him with her car, not her going up to his car and getting in his window and yelling and fussing and cussing at him. And again, he did not know her. All he knew is when some car pulled in front of him, started cussing at him, put a gun out, and then he gone. Hannah Payne, who chased down Kenneth Herring after the traffic incident back in 2019, found guilty and sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 30 years. And once she is granted parole, she still has to do an additional 13 years. So again, the earliest that 25-year-old Hannah can get out, the earliest she can get out is 68 years old. And at one point, the DA said all her formative years, all her memories will be from prison because of her own actions. And the reason I feel like I have no bad feelings or I have no sympathy for her is because none of what I saw was her taking any accountability for every step she made to cross the boundary as judge, jury, and executioner. Anyway, please make sure to subscribe, share the video, follow me on social media at JayLeesCorner on IG, Twitter, and tick of the top. Okay, again, like, comment, and share. I gotta go. Bye.